Then take a look at Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO's new program on Parrot TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, if how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO, your financial problems will be solved at Parrot TV with Financial Focus University.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Financial Focus University. My name is Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO. Please have a seat and welcome to class. I am an adjunct professor for business and personal finance for both Herbert H. Lehman College, which is a part of City University of New York, and Monroe College, which is a private university in New York. And some might know me as the current CEO of RIVIECCIO Financial Advisors, an internet advisory firm, as well as the founder of a 25-year money management firm, the Financial Advisors Group. Ladies and gentlemen, our curriculum today, I believe, is an exciting one. We'll be covering first and foremost the financial news and market information for the week. If I had to summarize it all in one word, I would say flat. And then after we talk about the markets for the week, then we'll talk about our personal finance segment. How to guarantee, yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me correctly, how to guarantee a $1,000, about $2,000, maybe a $3,000 extra income tax refund check next year. Grab your seatbelts for that one, ladies and gentlemen. And then our final segment, the professor's opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, I get asked this all the time. When people talk to me about investments, right, they want to make a certain amount of growth. Is there any other instruments that are higher than your traditional instrument? We'll talk about that in a moment, ladies and gentlemen. But first and foremost, let's talk about our first segment, how the financial news and market information did for the week. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we had what I call a flat week. And you'll see by the next slide, as we look at some of the market information that came in for the week, you will see that retail sales came in, and those numbers came in flat. Jobless claims numbers came in. Remember, as I always say, ladies and gentlemen, when jobless claims numbers come in, that's the amount of people going for unemployment. Again, those numbers came in flat. An item that I don't have there that also came in flat, according to Joe Biden, is the rate of inflation. Month over month, the number was flat. And then as he was explaining that to us, he also sat down this week to sign the Inflation Reduction Act, which some would classify as a specification of different types of raises of income taxes. He calls it, again, the Inflation Reduction Act. So all the information that came in was pretty much flat. So how did the markets respond day by day by day? When we go to the next slide, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see the market responded very slowly but positively. On Monday, it went up 0.4%. On Tuesday, it went up 0.2%. And then Wednesday, we had a little problem, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And we went down 0.8%. And then on Thursday, well, we sort of went back up a little bit, right? We went up 0.1%. And then you'll see on Friday, today, all of a sudden, bang, we went down. Let me summarize that in 3 words. Bed, Bath, and Beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not aware, their financials came out on Thursday night. They were awful. They were awful before Thursday night. Officially for the quarter, they were even more awful. So you may not see it in these, of course, aggregate numbers, but Bed Bath & Beyond, depending on when you were looking at it, depending on when you were in, depending on when you sold it, you could have been looking approximately at about a 30 to 40% loss in one day. Of course, that news affected the markets, right? Retail sales, hello. The tip of the week, I will tell you though, ladies and gentlemen, is that if anybody needs towels, give Bed Bath & Beyond a call right now. I'm sure you can get it at 40% off. So how do we grab all this information and understand it to the financial news and market information for the week? Well, when we go to the next slide, what it basically means, ladies and gentlemen, is the stock market for the week went down. It went down negative 1.5%. We were basically flat until today, and that's what it represents for the week. Let's look at the bond market. Well, we'll see on the bond market. Let's take the 2-year bond. Last week it was at 3.25. This week it's also 3.25. Flat, right? Still using that word, flat. Let's look at the 10-year Treasury. Well, the 10-year Treasury last week was at 2.84. And then, of course, we went up this week, 2.97. That is a healthy sign that the economy is moving a little bit forward. But as I've been saying for the last several weeks, ladies and gentlemen, look at the 2-year and 10-year a little bit closer. Think of yourself as a consumer in the bank. Isn't that amazing? You can make more money on the 2-year bond as opposed to the 10-year bond. That is called the inverted yield curve, when short-term rates are higher than long-term rates. Federal Reserve Board, are you hearing me out there? So, as we talk about the stock market for a total of 31 weeks, from the beginning of the year to today, we're still down, ladies and gentlemen. That 1.5 killed us. We went down a negative 7.9%. And yes, the Bob Press Index, my co-partner in political crime, who has had his index for a total of 21 weeks, is now down at negative 1.3%. Or let's look at that a little bit closer, ladies and gentlemen. If you've had money in stocks for the last 5 months, you almost broke even, right? -1. Okay, not too bad. So how did the damage happen? The damage happened in the 5 months prior. So we're still trying to recover from that. The last 5 months, what have we been? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Flat. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment.
America Open Market, AO Market. The best digital market for humanity is a free, multilingual, borderless market open to international sellers with various languages included. With America Open Market, you may start selling in minutes after filling out the form. Comprehensive dashboard where you understand your sales, orders, and customers is available. You get paid directly, securely, and instantly on the America Open Market. You can sell your house, car, electronic laptop, CD player, boombox, phone, headphones, furniture, and clothing, and anything on AmericaOpenMarket.com where all your sales and customer needs are met. Register as a merchant today. You will not regret becoming a vendor at America Open Market. For further inquiries, contact us at aomarket@gmail.com. AO Market, best digital marketplace for humanity.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I hope our last segment was helpful for you in regards to financial news and market information. Now we're going to go into our personal finance segment. Ladies and gentlemen, let me repeat the title of this segment. How to guarantee, you heard me use that phrase again, an extra $1,000, $2,000, maybe even $3,000 extra income tax refund for next year. So grab a pen. Hold on tight. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I lied and I didn't lie. I lied because I shouldn't use the word guarantee, right? Once I use that phrase, the IRS hears it, other people hear it. Oh, it's a scam, blah, 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 blah. Ladies and gentlemen, no, it's not. Grab a pen and listen to me carefully. If all things remained equal on your tax return last year, right? And you use your proper income tax credits to your advantage and your income tax deductions to your advantage, then you should have got a tax refund, right? Because the credits and the debits lowered your tax liability, right? That would have been your income tax refund. Oh, wait a minute. You didn't use tax credits. You didn't use tax deductions, but you still got a refund. How did that happen? Well, there's only one other way it could happen, ladies and gentlemen. That means you were overpaying your taxes, right? And a lot of Americans do that, ladies and gentlemen. We don't realize we do it because we don't know what our proper tax balance is, right? Based on our individual selves. Now, that's another topic for another time. But the only point I want to put out here is that in your income tax life, if you're getting a refund, then that means the combination of tax credits, tax deductions, and you're overpaying your taxes in the first place. All three of these things are giving you a refund. If you're comfortable with that, then let's move forward to the next slide. Because let me explain to you how you can get an extra $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000 back. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a simple form. You can get this form at your job, at your human resource department. Just ask your supervisor. It's called the W-4 form. And what is that form? That W-4 form is an IRS form that is completed by you, the employee. And this form tells your job what to pay in taxes to the IRS. This is a form that you could change any day, every day at your request. Of course, you don't want to do it any day, every day, but this is a form that we generally fill out when we first get hired, and we just forget about it and not understanding that this form has a lot to do with what happens to our tax refund or not going forward. So let's look at the top of this chart, and let's say you get paid weekly and you decide that you want to have an extra $1,000 as an income tax refund next year, notwithstanding what you're getting now. You want an extra $1,000. Well, if you get paid weekly, that's $19.23 a week, right? That extra, right, that you would have to have come out of your check, because $19.23 for 52 weeks weekly come out to $1,000. What if you got paid bi-weekly? Well, then you want every 2 weeks to be $38.46. That amount every 2 weeks, 26 weeks a year, brings you $1,000. Where do you put that number? You put that number, ladies and gentlemen, right on the W-4 form, where you would put your name, your address, how you're changing your tax situation, and then you have to sign it, of course. So let's go to the next slide. Let's say you want to increase that to $2,000, and let's say you get paid weekly. Well, you'll see the number again of $38.56. If you gave the IRS $38.56 more for 52 weeks, it will come out to $2,000. Now, why do I use the word guarantee? Because you're the one paying it, right? So it's pretty guaranteed to me, right? Let's say you wanted to make that amount $3,000. Ladies and gentlemen, then on a weekly basis, that amount would be $57.69. If you got paid bi-weekly, it would be $115.38. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I always suggest, the clients that are considering this strategy, first and foremost, you want to be sure that your cash flow, right, on a weekly or bi-weekly basis suits up to your needs. You also want to be very frank with you, make sure that you're in your correct tax bracket in the first place. But again, that's another story for another time. But all things remaining equal, if you know you're using your tax credits, maybe you're not, using your tax deductions, maybe you're not, but you're still getting a refund, which means you're overpaying your taxes, right? Why don't you overpay a little bit more, right? How does that old saying go? Fourth savings account, right? That way, you have a little bit come out every week, every 2 weeks. You know, during income tax refund time, you're going to get what you would normally get, plus that extra amount back barring any income tax consequences on other sides of your income tax life. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want a copy of these slides, want more information, need help filling out the W-4, feel free to give me a call, 347-575-5045. And please, ladies and gentlemen, press the subscribe button before you leave us today so you can learn a whole bunch of our financial news, market information, and personal finance tips. We'll be back in a moment.
In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted, and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your products and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York Parrot, you can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the websites they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our new site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York Parrot is born to prosperously speak tomorrow for the voiceless.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Financial Focus University. Before we go into our final segment, just let me take a moment or two to remind you that, again, feel free to give me a call, not just for our personal finance slides or for any help that you might need, but also for advertising on our show. We have very good video rates for 45-second commercials. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll be glad to share a kit with you. Also, ladies and gentlemen, our Ask the Professor segment is, of course, or the Professor's Opinion segment, is not just available here on Parrot TV. It's also available on Facebook at Ask the Professor Facebook group. Just go into Facebook search and feel free to join us. And again, finally, ladies and gentlemen, before we leave you tonight, please, again, don't forget to press the subscribe button, as we want to educate you every week here on the New York Parrot. Ladies and gentlemen, our final segment has to do with what we call the Professor's Opinion. And as I always like to say, and my colleagues know, I have one. And I've always been told on occasion I should be quiet. But, you know, when I'm not talking economics, maybe I should be quiet. But when I'm talking economics, I love to talk. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share with you what I believe is a solution to a question I get all the time. When I sit down with clients and they're looking at their investments for a variety of different things, whether it's for protection, whether it's for growth, whether it's for both income and growth, I'm always asked, you know, Anthony, are there any other alternatives to make money besides your traditional stocks, bonds, and mutual funds? And I always say to them, well, of course there is, right? But of course, every investment that has growth, right, also has a level of risk, right? So there's really nothing guaranteed there, right? I mean, you can make more money, but you can also lose money while you're doing it, right? But I believe, as you heard me in the last segment, I believe one viable area is income tax planning. It is my own humble belief, ladies and gentlemen, that income tax planning on a year by year basis will probably get you more money year over year than traditional investments. Let's take a look at something, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at this chart. You'll see that which is better, investment planning or tax planning? Well, they're both good, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about stocks for a moment, right? When we talk about stocks, we're talking about from the 1920s on an every 10-year interval, right? So we're talking the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, right? And so on down the line. Every 10 years, well, the market has its ups, the market has its downs, the market has its sideways, but on an every 10-year variable, the market makes about 10% a year or 100% after a 10-year cycle. That has so far been a proven fact. Again, when we talk about stocks, there's no guarantees, right? The present does not guarantee the future. But what that does say is that if we look at stocks as a long-term growth vehicle, that over time, on a 10-year interval, stocks would bring you, on average, 10%. If you want it to be a little bit more safe and conservative, put a little bit more into bonds or maybe in savings, you can make that 10% 8%. Now, 8 to 10% is pretty good, right? I just said if you get 10% a year, you could double your money in 10 years. That sounds like a very, very good investment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to presume that the person that falls into that category also has to do their income taxes, right? Wouldn't you agree? So let's talk about tax planning for a moment. Now, if you remember our last series, right, our last couple of series when we talked about tax planning, we talked about income tax deductions, income tax credit, right? And we said there were over 500 in the IRS code, 2/3 of them being income tax deductions, the other 1/3 being income tax credits. So as a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, right, when we talk about income tax deductions, remember, any deduction you find in a tax code that applies to you gives you what we call your tax bracket discount. So you'll see I put 28%. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the minimum, right? Depending on your tax bracket, you can be getting a taxable discount equivalent of 28 to 40%, depending on what tax bracket discount you're in. Now, that's not money in your pocket, that's tax savings, right? So what is that in your pocket? Ladies and gentlemen, in your pocket would be anywhere from 10% on the low side to 16% on the high side. So if you're in a 28% income tax bracket, the real money back in your pocket is 10%. If you're in a 40% tax bracket, in your pocket is 16%. But remember, as I said, right, when we talked about tax planning in the last several weeks, I said tax credits were more valuable than income tax deductions, right? We just have to be sure, A, we understand the rules and regulations, and B, that they apply to you, right? Just like income tax credit. Well, if there are tax credits that you apply for, then any expenses that were incurred in that tax credit is a 100% deductible. That's correct, 100%. That's your savings. What is that in your pocket? 25%. So, ladies and gentlemen, you could be in a wonderful situation where maybe you have a very good investment advisor, you're getting 8 to 10% a year, but then, of course, you have an extra wonderful income tax advisor that's looking at those deductions, looking at those credits, and he's looking to save you 10%, 16%, or 25% in your pocket from income tax savings. So, although they're both good, ladies and gentlemen, the professor's opinion, we have to watch our money. We have to be sure, of course, it goes more up than down. But one of the keys to wealth is not investment planning. One of the keys to wealth is income tax planning. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for watching tonight. Let me once again say, if anyone needs any help on any of these topics, if anyone would like any of the slides related to these topics, feel free to give me a call. 347-575-5045. Everyone get to enjoy the rest of the summer. Be financially focused. Have a good weekend.
In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your product and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York Parrot, you can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the website they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our new site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York Parrot is born to prosperously speak